Welcome to Part of My Imagination. I'm Imagination, and you're the Imaginers. Welcome if this is your first time. My name's Jasmine, and welcome back if this is your second or third, or however many times you decide to come back here. Today, we're going to be talking about my September TBR. So, let's just get right into the books, because why else are you here? Oompa loompa doompa dee doo. Okay, I'm done. I cracked myself up. Alright, so before I forget, because I don't actually own the copy, I'm going to be buying it. I'm going to be reading the second book in the Mirage series by Samaya Doyd. And it is the second book, like I said, to Mirage. And this is following a girl who pretty much looks like the princess. And she gets taken from her village or her family to play as a double for the princess. Because pretty much the princess is a bitch. And people try to kill her. And instead of getting the princess killed, they are just going to let them kill this girl that looks exactly like the princess. And that's what the second book is, or the first book is about. I'm not going to tell you what the second book is about, because then that would spoil the first book. But just know that I'm buddy reading this with Princess over at Castle Library. My best friend. Make sure you check her channel out. Do it. Alright, the next book I plan on reading is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And I love how that rhymed. But anyways, I don't remember what this book is about. And I know everybody be getting all mad talking about some, you should know what the book is about before you talk about it on your channel. But y'all lucky I'm recording, because if y'all haven't noticed, I've been MIA. But it's about this badass assassin girl. Right? In the dark, filthy salt mines of Endover, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind. But she made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Dun, dun, dun. That's all you need to know. A lot of people know about this. And I'm just finally catching on to the train. So, yeah, like, another buddy read with Princess over at Castle Library. Check her out. We are reading We Hunt the Flame by Hostel Faisal, one of my favorite books of all time. And the second book was supposed to come out, but it got pushed because of COVID. I'm not hostile about it. No, I'm fine. But anyways, we are doing reread of this book, and if you don't know what this book is about, you should totally check it out because it's phenomenal. But anyways, it's about this girl named, I know her name. I always say her name wrong. Zafira. There it is. And pretty much she has to bring magic back. There's magic. There's assassins. There's an Altair, my love and savior. If you like Assassin's Creed vibes, Altair. The author already said that there's Assassin's Creed vibes in this bitch. It's phenomenal. There's love. There's hate. There's magic. There's everything that you ever needed in a fucking book is in this book. Like, what more do I have to tell you? That's it. I'm reading it. It's 5 stars already, so there's your review. 5 stars. Next, I'm going to be reading Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is the second book in the Scythe series. If you don't know what If you don't know what I still can't fucking say the word. Scythe. If you don't know what Scythe is about, it is about pretty much this perfect world where there is immortality. Nobody dies anymore. So there are these scythes that go around. That is such a hard fucking word to say. Scythes. Anyways, they go around glooming people, because it's not called killing, it's called glooming. And essentially, they are the ones that kill people. They kill people off because there's too many people on the planet, and then they just kind of like pick random people, or sometimes don't pick random people. But anyways, it's following this guy and this girl that end up becoming apprentices to one of the Scythes, and it's just following their story. It was phenomenal. I love the first one. I can't wait to pick up the second one, and I just know it's going to be good. Did y'all know Neil Shusterman was black? I did not know that. I didn't know. But now I know my ways, and I am ready. Alright. I am ready for this book. I am ready for Brightly Burn by Kristen White. This is the last book in the And I Darken series. And I am like, my body is so ready. Like, it's so ready. But I can't tell you what this book is about, because then that would give it away. Duh. Anyways, it is following this girl named Lotta, and she lives in this country. What's the name of her fucking country? I can't even remember. I just remember, it's so crazy because I shouldn't remember the name of these fucking cities, but I don't. So it's pretty much, she was raised in a country that was not her country because her dad was a bitch. And, you know, yeah. So she got, her and her brother, her younger brother, got sent away to another land, and they had to live and grow up there. And then when she grew up, she was like, fuck that, I want my shit back. And then the little brother was like, nah, I'm good. And, you know, there is characters that are dealing with homosexuality. There are characters that, there's so much politicalness. Is that a word? I don't know. It is now. There's so much politicalness in this book. Or political intrigue. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Like, wow. Have I recorded? I haven't. But yes, love, hate, fighting, killing, politics, all of it. Okay. Next is The Poppy Word by R.F. Kuang. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I'm saying that right. If not, I'm going to get it right in the wrap up, and I'm going to practice and check it out. But I actually don't know what this book is about, and I don't want to know what this book is about. I just know that so many people have gotten like up in arms about this book. And I mean, this is definitely an adult fantasy. Say it with me. Adult fantasy. So, what was it again? Adult fantasy. So, there's going to be adult things in here that I already know are going to be in here. So, trigger warning for anyone that deals with, I don't know, just check out the trigger warnings. Like, go check out a review before you read this book, because I just know that there's shit going in here. We're talking about a female who is pretty much a badass. That's all I need to know. She is a peasant. She is a student. She is a soldier. She is a goddess. Bam. That's all I need to know. Alright, next is Deathless Divide by Justin Ireland. And this is the second book in the Dread Nation series. And the series is pretty much about old and 1800s. Where instead of black people being slaves, they're still slaves, but they're kind of like paid slaves. Yeah. So there's a zombie apocalypse going on in the 1800s, and the Native Americans and the black people and anybody that's colored get sent to these schools to be apprentices to white people to save them. And they get trained in like martial arts and shit, and well, not martial arts, but like combat and shooting and killing. And it's about this two girls who pretty much get into some shit that deal with zombies and killing and white people. And yeah, this book, not this book, but the first book has so much shit around it, and I just don't give a fuck because I enjoyed the first one, and I'm already halfway through the second one, and I'm just going to finish it. So, yeah. Next, I'm going to be reading Always and Forever Laura Jane by Jenny Han. This is the last book in the P.S. I Still Love You series. I love the first one. It was, actually, I lied. I just lied to you. Wow. I gave the first one 3 stars, and it was just like, mediocre. And then I read the second one because I was like, I own it. Might as well. I just need a little bit of romance in my life. And I actually loved the second one. So I was like, I'm picking up the last one because why the hell not, right? But yes. Anyways, where was I? What? I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So, P.S. I Still Love You is about a girl named Laura Jane who, every time she was in love with a guy and then fell out of love with a guy, she wrote them a letter. But she never sent the letter. She just kept the letters. She wrote all her emotions down in this letter. So, one day, somehow, some way, those letters get sent out. And bam. Things are happening because they're like, oh my God, you love me? And you know, just things are happening, and that's all I'm going to tell you. Obviously, this is a Netflix adaptation that got out. I haven't watched it. I wanted to read the books first before I read it. And yeah, that's that on that. I'm going to finish the series out, and I'm so excited. Okay, and the next book that I'm going to be reading, I don't actually own, I need to buy, and it is Only Human by Solomon Nouvelle. It is the last book in the Sleeping Giant series. I love this series so much. I Made Princess love this series so much. It is honestly phenomenal. It's such a great sci-fi series. And I'm telling you, if you like science, you are going to love this series. It's just so good. Anyway, Sleeping Giants is it's pretty much about this girl. It's not just about her, but this is what starts the book, and this is all that you need to know. But yes, this girl who is like 7 or 8 years old or some shit like that is out playing, and she's on her bike, and then she ends up falling in this big ass hole, and she falls on this giant hand that's for a robot, and it's like big as fuck, and then it's just following her. Like years and years later, she ends up becoming a scientist, and she ends up getting put on the project figuring out where this big ass hand came from, and lo and behold, there's other pieces, and it just follows like this crazy stuff that's going on. Okay, so the next book I'm going to be reading is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the duology. But this is also a carry-on of the Shadow and Bone series. And I just know that it has to do with like a heist. That's it. That's all I know. It has some of characters from the last book or last series in this series. And I'm excited because I finally finished the Shadow and Bone series. So, we out here. I have been trying to read this book for a couple of months now, and it's not the book. I am actually intrigued to read this book. And first off, the book is The Pariah Child and the Ever-Giving Stone by Natasha D. Lane. This was kindly sent to me by the author, as well as the other book in the series and another standalone series. And I did start reading it, as you can see, but last month was really, really busy, and every time I would get home, I just wouldn't pick it up because this was one of those ones that I couldn't listen to, and I had to physically read it. So I do plan on actually, getting to this book and finishing it. I'm going to continue on with my tabs. I do plan on finishing it. I am very interested in this book. But it's pretty much following this girl named Sarah. And since she was young, she could see creatures and stuff like that. And obviously, she was 4 years old, so she was telling her mom and people around her, and everyone thought she was crazy, so she had to keep that inside. Then she gets a little bit older, she meets a boy, and ends up getting thrown into this other world. And that's kind of all that you need to know about it, because I don't want to spoil it or anything. But it's actually really good. Starting out, I was even starting out, it wasn't really slow. It was just okay. It was laying this basis on you so that it can get to the next part of the milk and honey of the book. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yes. All right. Next, I'm going to be reading Saga Volume 3. And look at that. Hey. Anyways, yeah, this is the third book in the Saga series by Brian K. Fletcher and Fiona Staples. And pretty much, this is just about two species that are at war with each other. Well, there's multiple species, but there's two planets that are at war with each other, and both of the two people are on opposite of fighting teams, and they end up falling in love and having a baby, and it's just following them on the run. And it's told in the story or perspective of the child. So very interesting, Very graphic, very adult. This is an adult graphic novel, so be mindful of it. Don't just whip this thing out on the train station and then, you know, titties and ass are out. So, yeah. Next, I'm going to be continuing on with Motor Crush by Babs Tarr, Brendan Fletcher, and Cameron Stewart. This is the second book in a series in the volume. Words. This is the second volume in the series. And this is pretty much following this girl, Domino, who does street racing. And she does street racing to get this drug. She's a professional racer as well as, like, she does the illegal racing to get this type of drug. And it's just following her, trying to figure out why she needs this drug to stay alive. And I'm telling you what, that ending of the first one was chef's kiss. And I'm excited to pick up the second one. Alright, and next I'm going to be reading I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young. This is the second book in the I Hate Fairyland series. This is really cute. It's pretty much about this girl who gets sent into this fairyland world. And in order to leave fairyland, she has to find, I believe it's keys. I want to say it's keys. She has to find the keys. But she was pretty much a spoiled little shit. And she spent like 80 some fucking years in fairyland. And she got stuck there. So she's like a grumpy ass old lady in a little girl's body. And it's hilarious. And literally it's so damn funny. You need to read this comic book or graphic novel series. It's so funny. Alright. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to be reading A Song of Race and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. And hold on, I didn't have it pulled up. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Touch for the very first time, like a virgin. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. So excited to read. Princess has been on my back, okay? On my back since she read this book, and she won't leave me alone about it. But I'm going to be picking it up this month, and I'm going to be listening to it on Libby because that's where it is. It's a West African folklore. Why can I not say that word? Folklore. There it is. It's pretty much about a princess and murder, and it's by a Black author, and it's about West African folklore, and that's all I need to know, and that's all that y'all need to know. So get with the times, pick this book up, and read it. If you want to buddy read with me, if you haven't read it already, hit me up, and we can read it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm down. I'm down for to get down if you're down. Okay? Alright, that's all that I have for you guys today. Be sure to check out my description where you will find easy ways to contact me, as well as all the books and videos or channels that I talked about. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't, just imagine that you did and come back again. Until next time, keep imagining.